Okay, about ready to get on a roll here. Alright, I think we're just going to go ahead and interrupt the timer. Oop, I exist. Let's see here. Hello, hello, hello. So I have added a new command to the chat, which is exclamation mark coffee, which has the code for the new have a new brand partnership for a coffee brand, and you can get 5% off. Eventually, it'll probably show up alongside Dubby on the ad ticker for when we're in ad breaks. But for right now, it's just there in the chat, and it'll come up periodically when we're in, usually probably around the ad breaks. So I'm a big coffee drinker. So I was itching at the, what's the phrase? Chomping at the bit. That's the phrase. I was chomping at the bit to find a coffee brand. There aren't that many of them that do like this kind of thing generally, from what I could find. So, didn't get the cool game dev code. It just went with the username. I didn't seem to have a way to change it. If I get in good with them, I'll have to ask them if I can update my code. So. So, kind of the way things are gonna go here. Close that. Kind of the way things are gonna go is, I've already done a little bit of this work, but basically, you know, I have a working, I'm going to put big old air quotes on that, a working weapon system, right? We can play the game, and it allows us to walk over, pick up items, and equip them. There we go. Like we can walk over, we can pick up the pistol, it's equipped. We can pick up the flashlight, it's equipped. That I broke that recently, but that's fine. So yeah, and then we're able to use them and move around the inventory, and that's great and all. But see, I worked on the inventory as one thing, then we added on the weapon equipping, Then we added on the tool equipping and then tried to like make those behave together. And it was becoming, because I was basically building these independent systems and then slapping them on top of each other and trying to make them behave well together, they were really not. And it was becoming convoluted to do. And while this mostly worked, it's going to be really difficult to expand upon as we progress. So I started reworking some systems. A lot of it was just writing some stuff in C++, to kind of build out some base classes and variables that we'll need. So what we're gonna do is, firstly, we need to find our Skelly Man. Oh, I need to close some of this stuff from what the other stuff I was working on. Most of that's the stuff that's going to get replaced anyway. I was sort of taking a more or less an inventory of what we have. This is what we need. We need this skeleton. Because one of the first things we're going to need to do is put some more sockets on it. So as of right now, there's a couple things we need. Let's see. First is that I want to put a socket. We technically do have a couple sockets, back accessories and stuff on our skeleton, but right now back accessories is like down here. Spine 3 itself we did as a socket. That was more of like an animation relevant test. We're taking an ad break. Let me just go ahead and put this in here. I think we are back from the ad break. Looks like we're back from the ad break. Let's see here. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, so I had to put this hip weapon socket on and this back weapon socket. And that's because their positions are going to be, I mean, these probably aren't where they'll finally end up, but there's a specific place that I want them to be. So that gives us those guys. I think we have the other virtual bones and sockets that we need. Let me double check my list. Let's put so we still need a belt tool socket, and honestly my first inclination would be putting it right along here, but isn't there a setting to preview a specific mesh on here? Like, yeah. Alright, well, that rotated. It was not quite in the position that I expected. Let's see. Preview asset. Pistol. I mean, it could be a static mesh for now, I suppose. Oh, it's just... I guess I don't get to choose the rotation on that. That's a little silly. Out of curiosity. No, that one's actually rotated fine. This one's the weird one for some reason. Hold on. No, not blood bone reduction. Can I just... Okay, that doesn't work. Will it add more than one there? I guess is the question. Okay, so we know that those kind of work. The hip socket's a little weird. So I would say probably needs to go on, I would say, spine 1 as well. The thing is, the more I think about it, I'm kind of feeling like the hip slot needs to go further down. So, or at the very least, I guess technically what it needs to do is it needs to come over to the other side, because the pistol would be drawn from the right hand. I don't know that any of the animations necessarily have you do that. I'd have to check, but obviously in the long run I would make my own animations. We can deal with specific positioning and stuff when the time comes to it. For now, I'm gonna say that we're probably good to put a socket on here where the other one originally was, and that is going to be the belt tool socket. Or put it on the, move it down to the pelvis. Honestly, its actual positioning will have to end up based on where it is on the mesh. Like where his belt actually falls on the final character. but I think that will do us fine for now. Then actually, let me go ahead and fix alignment on these. I know I may have to deal with that stuff later, but so we're gonna say this guy. This guy, he looks more or less correct. And then this one, I'm sort of a mind to have it right there, but at the same time, I may have to decide on a different option, or just have it, I don't know. My thought was making it where he could keep the flashlight on his hip, but I think this type of flashlight, that's probably just not going to work. I might eventually do something with like a socket up here and then have him move the flashlight here, or like you have to get a different flashlight that can attach. An upgraded one would probably be the route to go with that. So in which case we'd need a socket up here, but I don't have animations to even start making that believable. So until I start actually animating stuff from scratch, we're not going to worry about that. Alright, so we are going to clean up some old stuff, but not until we kind of get to that point where we've replaced the stuff that we're reinventing here, or refactoring as it were. So for now, we're just making the replacements. So we need a new directory here to keep up with stuff. And in here, we're gonna have our weapons and our tools. And then in here, we need to create our first blueprint class of these new ones. We're going to find one of our C++ classes, which is our weapon actor. And see, before I was doing stuff with actor components, which got really convoluted. So in this case, we're going to do just with an actor. This is going to be ACT, weapon, pistol. This is our actor blueprint for a weapon pistol. We're going to open it up. And a couple things we need to set here. I'm going to select our mesh. And then our skeletal mesh asset. Oop. And oop. And then our class defaults. I'm going to actually first, do I have I'm just gonna make them red so they stand out, I think. Let me see. Yeah, I think red is good. Yeah, dev red is fine. It has the grid on it, but honestly, that doesn't really matter or mean anything. So hip, we're not going to make this one two-handed. We're looking for EMO. 1260 is good for this particular one. Equipable. That's going to be down here. There it is. Overlay. Equipped overlay state is pistol. Holstered overlay state is none. And then weapon effects, muzzle socket. I think it's back up here actually. Weapon effects, muzzle socket. What is the name of the socket, or is there a socket on this mesh? I think there is. I had to make one for firing. It's just barrel socket. So it's lowercase. Barrel socket. I do have a muzzle flash. It's just a singular muzzle flash. We're just gonna do bullet sparks default. That'll be fine for now. There are additional animations in here Um, where's... That's that. That'll do. And then... I know stream isn't going to hear these at the moment. That's fine. Boop, doop, doop. I don't think I have... I actually have that one set up. And that one set up. But I don't have the equip one set up yet. I know there was one in there for equip, but or draw, but it's from a different skeleton. So I can probably just retarget it and use it, but for right now we don't have it. And I don't want to cause any craziness by skipping ahead of myself on that. Alright, so I got that. And then we're also going to create new blueprint. I'm going to create the same thing. OMP weapon actor ACT. Oops. Weapon. And this one we're just going to call it an assault rifle. We'll get into specific weapons at a later date. We're just going to make 2 generic ones that sort of hold the basic states, as it were. And then class defaults, we want rifle. As far as skeletal meshes go, it kind of looks like the only skeletal mesh rifle. That doesn't make sense. Really? Was that other one? I guess that other one wasn't called a rifle, was it? Oh no, I literally have, why is it? Oh, it's typoed. That's funny. Yeah, and we'll just go with this guy. This can go on back. Two-handed is check. Again, range and damage, we're going to keep those just as they are for now. Same with things like recoil. We're going to figure all that out as we go. Our mag capacity, we'll say, is 30. We'll leave the bag capacity at 60. Just for now. I do need to make sure that this guy has and it does. It has a barrel socket. The same name, so that's good. Boop, boop, boop. Muzzle. They're just going to use the same one. Was it bullet? This bullet sparks default. rifle. Some of these I do have set up. We'll say, yeah, that rifle. Rifle is equip. The holster is probably just going to be equip in reverse, at least for now. That's fine. Rifle. No. Oh, that was so loud. It'll do. Yeah, I guess I don't really have... That'll be fine. So I set that up, and then... Yeah, the rest of the configuration will all be able to wait. We're just going to set this for dev red, keep our weapons nice and visible. I'm going to jump over here to our tools. I'm going to do the same thing here. Except we're looking for our tool actor. And this guy is going to be, oops, ACT tool, flashlight, EP. Which actually is funny because I'm pretty sure we have another actor already called that over in our tools. Yeah, we do. So I'll have to be very careful which one I'm selecting until we get the other one removed. But we're good for now. All right, and then defaults. Let's see. I have a dev class. Set dev red. Oh, jeez. It's freaking out. Could you freaking stop? Okay. That'll be fine. Let's see. And then class defaults. Let's see. For now, we're gonna keep those on. Okay, so flashlight sounds. I am gonna have to fix that. I realize now that it is pointing at some enums that are not ideal because it's the whole enum, like for the main overlay, and you kind of need that, which is tricky. I'll have to figure that one out. I realized after the fact that that's going to be a problem. Let's see. Tool overlay. Yeah. Oh, we're on an ad break. Interesting. Is it conditionally showing me some values? that's snazzy. Yeah, it hides the... That's not the right type, so that's good. I was just assuming I'd have to make that stuff empty, but... Just conditional. Okay, in our base character, we need to look for our new component, which is right here. But I want to do something. I might have to make changes to it at some point, so I'm just going to make a blueprint child of it. I'm not going to make any changes to it. Oh, wait. Because, in fact, I don't really think I made that much of it that is... Yeah. Okay, and then we got to configure the socket map. So it's going to be tool, belt, tool, socket. Hip is going to be hip, weapon, socket, back, weapon, socket. These don't need to change. And then we have to bind it to, let's see. Is it in here? Actually, it's not until this one that the inventory is added. So then, I guess right off of the inventory component, I mean, the other alternative is do like... so interface. Could do it off of that. In fact, if that's the route we're gonna go, and it shouldn't matter that I'm doing it in here. This should just be... Oh yeah, no, it is in here. It's from the input graph, which is weird. But that's good. So grab this. It should be valid, but we're going to check if it's valid. And then we'll do bind to inventory. And then so what we should see, if this works, is we'll still see the old attachment, but we also see our new attachment, which is good. Yeah. Oh, that's a little weird. Okay, well, since we use this other mesh, the standard flashlight, let me just give it a little rotation. Yeah. So that puts it where I expect. Cool. We haven't set up spawnables for the rest, so I'll leave those alone for now. It does mean that we need some additional inputs. Those were the tools, just the flashlight action, because it's generic like that. We do have fire, reload, interact. Some of these will be things that really you won't have a controller equivalent for, but those will be like minor things. Or there'll be like another way to do it from controller. I don't think I've given X a binding. No. Does this give X a binding? No. Okay. Those probably won't work right away because I haven't done the additional work on them, but that's fine. Okay, yep, that's binding there, and that's binding there. Okay. You know why that probably wasn't working on the main menu? Because this is tied to the old input system. Most of this is through here. So like from the fire action, branch when true. Actually, I'd do this differently. Drag off of here. Fire action. Fire action. No. Actually, yeah. Just checking. Okay, so that's not already an existing function. Let me do branch. Maybe get elapsed seconds, triggered seconds. This. Try fire. Boom, 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 boom. And then okay, we gotta confirm that our tool is valid. Check. And then toggle the tool enabled. Otherwise, And then if this is true, and toggle the tool enabled. Nope, that's not right. And then we do cycle weapon. Okay. That should help us a little bit, because we'll be cycling through the equipped weapons. I still think I'm going to have to go back and change a couple things. For one thing, it didn't occur to me when I was creating the C++ functions for these to like specify what we're holstering. And really my only intention for that was that the character would put the weapon away, not the flashlight. And I suspect the way I've currently got it set up, it's going to put away whatever's in either hand, or like both hands rather. It's going to like completely empty the hands. Excuse me. So there's that. So we shall see. And then another ad break. let's see. Alright, we are back from the ad break, I do believe. And so, what we're going to do I don't think I have that implemented on the base character, do I? I do. Yeah. So, right now, we have this stuff doing effectively like a reflection. Wait, those are sets. Shit. We want the get current states. But also we do have to deal with that. Hello, Amber. How are you? I generally don't even have to look at the chat to know who did that. I am doing all right. I am going back through and reworking some of the convoluted systems that I did around weapons and like the flashlight and equipping stuff on the character, because I kind of built that in like pieces, and so I was effectively constantly tacking a new feature on and then trying to make it all behave together. And while ultimately I got something that kind of works, because it's going to look a little weird because I've been adding in the new stuff, like because you could come up here, you could grab the pistol, you could grab the flashlight, and you'd be able to use them together, which you can't now because I can't do the animation now because I freaking disconnected the input that turns on the flashlight. But he would like hold the flashlight and the pistol together. There was like a dynamic animation for when you had both of them and you had the flashlight active, and it was great and all, but it was getting really complicated. So it was going to basically be that as I started to add more things, there are going to be more caveats. So it's like, okay, I kind of know how this needs to be structured. I need to rebuild it as like a single system. You're imagining that pose with the flashlight? Yeah, so that was the idea, is that like he'd be able to hold things dynamically, whether you had the flashlight on or not. And then like that is its own set of animations. There was a whole thing to determine if those are being used, but it was getting overly complicated. It was going to be way more complicated to keep adding things to it. So I haven't started to tear everything out just yet. I disconnected a couple of things, and I'm basically building in a new system that has tools and weapons kind of under a single like equipment banner. And they're still distinct item types, but when it comes to how they're like portrayed on the character in terms of how they're equipped visually, they're treated as like sort of a singular type and attached. So what effectively will happen, I can show this as an example, because also what I had set up before did not allow, the weapons only showed when they were like in your hands. So the way this will effectively work is, let's see, let me get my examples out. It'd be this one, and yeah, so he'll have like a hip holster for a pistol, and then a two-handed gun, be it a rifle or shotgun, whatever you have equipped, can go on his back. And then he'll have a spot for the flashlight. That'll be roughly speaking how that should work once it's all said and done. These are just little preview meshes, but that'll be roughly speaking how that works. And it's kind of already there. Like if I go into the game and I pick up the pistol, you'll actually notice two things happen. I have a pistol in my hand, and it may not come through super well on stream, but I tried to make it brighter so it's easier to notice. There's a red pistol on his hip right now, and I don't have a rifle placed in the world yet. You also see there's a flashlight in my hand from the old system, but there is a flashlight on his hip. So they are equipping. I don't have a placeable rifle yet to do the rifle, but it would do the same. I can pretty much assume without testing that it would equip correctly, simply because it's literally the same system, just using a different value for the item and a different value for where to put it. So I just have to create the pickup for it, and then it would be there. Right now what I need to do is get them working and replacing the ones in the hands when they're equipped. There's a little bit of that, like I can toggle through my weapons, and it actually it cleared the hand, but it's also causing some errors like this because of the graph it's trying to run through, which is fine. So we'll need to work that out. The other thing, although it's really kind of hard to demo on stream, is that I got the game to load on my Steam Deck yesterday. I didn't do that on stream because it would have not been the most exciting thing in the world. I do have a video of it. One moment. Yeah, so yeah, so this was it running on the Steam Deck. It has some issues on the main menu, because of the last time I was like really working on the main menu was when I was on the old input system. The input on the main menu doesn't work right, and you have to use the Steam Deck's touchscreen to select where you want to go, which also means that the logo doesn't go away off the background. You end up with doubled up logos, so you can't like toggle through your options. You have to touchscreen tap it, which is a little difficult with how small the prompts are. And then, but this menu works, and then I can choose what I want to load. That one doesn't do anything right now. It's just a placeholder. And then the sandbox. We're going to load the sandbox. And then it loads in the same level that we're working in right now. This was before some of the stuff I was doing now. Yep. So I got this working yesterday. Late last night, actually. I stayed up way later than I should have when I had to work. And got that working. So it is... that doesn't mean that it won't have stages where it's not working right. That it'll like constantly be on the deck the whole time. But it does launch on the Steam Deck. And so my intention, since I can launch it on the Steam Deck, is that I'm going to take it at the end of July. I am going to GalaxyCon, which is in Raleigh, which is about a couple hours away from me. I'm going to take it with me to GalaxyCon specifically because I'm going to see some people over there. One of whom is one of our voice actors, Mr. Alejandro Saab, and I'm going to show him the game. And not that there's like much to it. It's, unless I can really crank some stuff out between now and then, there's not a lot to show, but he'll be able to check it out. I figured you'd be working. I don't know if you saw the promo. I have a code for a coffee brand now. You can get, if you're more of a coffee drinker than a energy drink drinker. I have Itasha Coffee, which is like a VTuber brand. And you can get coffee from them. They have like flavored coffees in both ground and whole bean. Yeah, I do like coffee. I am a big coffee drinker. I'd actually applied to work with them on an affiliate thing like 3 months ago. So they were like really delayed, really backlogged, I should say. It took them a while to get through. I have no idea what the shipping would be like to good old New Zealand. Probably astronomical. Okay, so... You'll get around to checking. Thank you for the lurk. Let's see. Okay, so We have to switch up the overlay state source. Let's see. Let's see, that's under character logic. Excuse me. Let's see. This is where I may have to reconsider how this was done. In the overlay layer. which contains, right, like the masculine and feminine states. And then let's see. That's probably going to pose an issue for a couple things now that I think about it. Is this the one that's, yeah. This will be this one. in here, which is through this guy. It's this guy. Let's see. All right. Why is my stuff going crazy? Fun. Why? Why are you freaking out? let's see. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all fine. Weird. Okay. Yeah, I think that was going to be a problem, so... Need to live compile. So now what I need to do. Did I not have... Whatever. Okay, so in our variables we need weapon overlay state in hand. Oh, we're in an ad break. This is gonna be character weapon overlay state. Do my little Duolingo exercise while I'm waiting on the ad break here. Alright, we are back from an ad break, and I am just about done with what I am doing here. Nope, that wasn't it. Oh, that. And then that. That. And this one. What's that? Okay, cool. And so, yeah, so in this guy, we need the same enum, but this is our bolstered value, which can just be none. And then our weapon overlay mask mode. In hand, E character weapon. And then compile. This should be one-handed right. And then duplicate. Bolstered. Compile. None. Cool. Let's hold this data. And then I'm gonna copy those, but I have to do it one at a time. Copy. Honestly, what I may do, just because it'll make more sense once I get this whole system working, is create a single like blueprint child that they can all descend from, put this stuff on it, and then I don't have to redo this every single time. Because they'll be instance editable. Not knife. Where is it? Rifle. Two-handed. And then oop. And one-handed left. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do exactly what I was just thinking of. It's convoluted, but it saves me a little trouble. And it makes it easier for me to add in some specific, like, layered features, as it were. Here, a bloopity boop. Default that to none, 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 and none. Right, and then we're gonna file reparent blueprint to ACT tool base. Class setting, class defaults rather. Flashlight, none, none. Left. None. Bingo. Easy peasy. And then I just need one of these guys. Parent. Still one hand, holstered, one hand right. Let me just do boop, 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 boop. As defaults, rifle, gun, two-handed. Easy. Now I don't have to add those every single time I make a weapon. So now back in our base character, we have, was it in the input graph? Yeah. So we bound the inventory, and then immediately after, let's set up on in hand actor. We want to bind an event to the on in actor changed. Oops, it crashed. That's interesting. Should be good to open it again. Ah, okay, it wants me to restart the ID, so I'll do that first. So I gotta let this finish loading, because for whatever reason, every single time you open freaking Rider, it tries to install its plugin, even though it's already freaking installed. I haven't figured out if there's a way to stop it from doing that. You know what? Just don't automatic. I think it's too late. I think it's already going to try to do it now, but the funny thing is it always fails because I'm pretty sure it's putting it in the engine. So, like, it's in there, but it always puts it in the engine. And this is a pre-built binary version of the engine, so it's not going to be able to compile it. It's a whole thing. It's really dumb that they do this nonsense. I could just cancel it. Yeah, I'm just gonna cancel it. I don't need to build, I just need to launch. Now, I've noticed, because I had to fix a bunch of stuff to get the build running on the Steam Deck. And I've noticed, and it's probably going to make me into a liar now, but that since fixing some of that stuff, it loads significantly faster when reopening the project. So we'll see if it makes me look like a liar, but I have hope that it will behave itself. It's already in the 70s on the percentile, so it should be all right. And then we have to figure out why it crashed. Sentry says it crashed. Oh, let's see. It got an access violation. It's got some stuff in its logs, but they don't make sense. They're just warnings that, as far as I can tell, were unrelated to what I was doing. So Still pretty slow. It's faster than it was, but it's still pretty slow. Yes, I would. Oops. Yes, I would like you to reopen the editors. What? What's it mad about? Oh, it's reopening the edit. It's doing exactly what I told it to do. That's what it's mad about. It's just full screening them for some reason. Opened one as its own window. I just noticed that the Spotify widget is showing all of a sudden, but like it's not correct. It's showing the music from earlier. That's weird. I guess it can't show the local playlist music, which is dumb. So we'll just hide that then, because it's not serving a purpose if it's not playing the stuff correctly. Okay. Now, the interesting thing, to me anyway, is why did this crash? Because these are parented. We reparented those successfully. Bind event to no. Bind That's weird. That's weird. After it crashed, the function doesn't seem to have that anymore. Let me do a live rebuild. It was there before, and then I selected it. The engine crashed, the editor crashed, and then it was gone, and I couldn't find it again. That's weird. That is very strange. Okay, it built. Right, we're done. Succeeded. Should mean that it's done. Yeah, okay. Its events are back now. On, in, hand. Don't you crash on me again. Okay. Good. Maybe it wasn't compiled properly. Because I did do a live compile the last time as well. And then we need to create event. Create a matching event. On, in, bull. On, in, hand, actor changed. And then create event. Same deal. Create a matching event. Rename. On. Tool. Enabled. State changed. That's interesting. Live coding OMP. Oh, that's weird. I've never noticed that. So we need a handler. Take new in hand. Ooh. Yeah, it doesn't like that. I'm going to build it externally now. Is what I'm going to do. Because that's the only solution I can think of. Is to just build it externally. Apparently the live coding is causing some weird problems with those in particular, which doesn't surprise me entirely. I've never really had great luck with it. Here recently, it had been working a lot better, and I had been able to use it quite a few times without issue. So I guess I just got cocky about the situation, and Unreal decided it needed to punish me for that. It was my hubris, and it needed to be put back in its place, apparently. So we'll just do a regular old compile and do things that way. And then hopefully it won't be crashing again. I am hoping that the blueprint stuff we just did with the creating the event and binding it and everything, that those are still present, because I'm pretty sure I compiled and saved. It's not a huge task, but it would be nice if it survived this situation. Okay, it did build. So now we're gonna open it up. Okay. Yes, reopen, please. Let's find out if it survived. I do feel like that opened faster. So they're here, but they're in an error. If I refresh them, and then probably also have to refresh these. No, they are mad. Yeah, I know. Your dispatcher pins are not connected. Can I just do this? Oh, they're just object references. This should be... Okay, let me just delete those. Alright, please don't crash. That's all I can say. Please don't crash. They just say regular references now. They don't say live coding next to them. So I assume we're going to be okay. Cast to the web adapter. Could you... Is there a way... Like, Movable base object. Equipable base object. I know what I'm gonna do. Unless a conditional sequence would work. No, because then that's a... Yeah, that wouldn't work. Yeah, this should work. This macro should work fine. Yeah, so then it checks this. And then if it's weapon, they are going to double check that it's valid. we'll do the same thing for this one. If we're gonna do that, then we do weapon. Because I think if I'm not mistaken, I have to do this because of what I did. So we need so I might do a function just to pull both of those at one time to make life easier. Not a macro. Delete. A function. I think this can be pure. And then turn node in hand. Holstered. And then I may as well do one for the mass mode. Because then I can do get weapon overlay states. Masks. Now, technically speaking, I don't care about holstered right now. we only care about in-hand stuff, but the function makes it easy to grab both of them at the same time. We do need to push that information back to the state machine. So in that case, I guess we would just do it from here through the character interface. I guess it'd be this guy. Set tool, overlay state. So weapon overlay state. This would be the best way to do it. API set overlay state. Except that's not for that one. Why did I think it was for that one? BPI. Ah, shit. BPI set weapon overlay state. Cast. And then Then I guess if it's not one of these, we would use the holstered state. Right? Well, no, we can't. Oh. Yeah, that doesn't make sense for that one. Okay, I think I'm gonna need a couple more functions, and then I have to create a fallback to, I guess, check the holstered and back weapons. For now, I'm just going to set this to none when it's not valid. It's theoretically possible that one of them might have a special state, but we're not worried about that right now. Okay, I have to do the same stuff with the tool. But also 10:30. Been my about 3.5 hours, actually. So probably a good idea to call it let's see. So we're going to raid a fellow game dev, Kelvin. I've raided him before, and I I'm going to wrap this stuff up, and I'm going to get to bed. Everybody have a good night. All right, and good night.